Morning. I wanted to jump on a bit earlier so it gives people time to find this live. I hope that everyone is well this morning. I am on day 24 today. Seems like a really good time to bring these conversations to you, and we're going to be having more of these conversations as well, which I'm really excited about, to support you with what you need, support you with new information, and yeah, just support you in any way that you need. It's always a bit awkward waiting for everyone to jump on and find it. I'm still working out how to get that Zoom link to you guys for tomorrow to talk about the autumn chat. So when you watch this, if you are keen to jump on that Zoom call, send me a message. Hi babe. Send me a message so that I can get that link to you, because I'm going to jump straight into it after my live on my other page. How are you this morning? I'll see if I can... Oh! I'm just inviting Kirstyn. This is going to be a really amazing conversation. I know that when I came into this work that I didn't even know that there were seasons of pregnancy, or that we could relate the outer seasons and the season of our cycle to our pregnancy. I've already got the kindergarten tribe here. Oh, hi! Hi.
Hey, girl.
Hello.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Had a pretty good sleep last night, so
Amazing. That's the one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for jumping on and doing this.
That's okay.
I suppose that we will just jump straight into it.
Yeah.
So this is Kirstyn, everyone. Kirstyn is a Yoni Steam practitioner, amazing wealth of knowledge and wisdom. I really wanted to get you on because, one, I really want people to know about that there are actually seasons of pregnancy, and how they can use their planners, because there's quite a few in here who are hapū at the moment.
Cool.
And are ready to enter postpartum also. And yeah, I really wanted to bring this conversation to them so that they can feel supported, and have another layer and level of support. So
Yeah.
I can't say it enough, so excited. So how are things going for you in postpartum, and how is that sort of looking for you?
I was thinking about that, and I just I feel like I'm still in a bit of another realm. Like
Mm.
I'm just in another space and time. And it's kind of like, I'm in this kind of daydreaming, kind of just sort of slowly unraveling. And like every single day is still like coming back to myself, but also like moving forward in this kind of newness and this new person and this new kind of space.
Yeah.
So it still feels sort of quite up in the air, but also quite grounded. Like I'm still doing the things that, um, routines and things. I'm slowly picking back up on that. Um, and also like getting ahead of myself. I did find I was doing that quite a lot, wanting to I'd have this sort of burst of energy and then and I'd want to do lots of things, and then I sort of had to remind myself, um, what can happen if I do end up just pushing forward and not actually just slowing down.
Yeah.
So I've had to bring in some practices of mindfulness as well, just to kind of bring me back to reality of just enjoy this time, just be in the moment,
Mm.
and wait for that. It's definitely been a lot of that waiting for the wisdom to sort of emerge, and like and I'll know when I'm kind of in that ready to just move on to that next stage.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of introspect, a lot of time just to sort of think, what I'm wanting looking forward, for myself, for baby, for everything, but not getting too far ahead and just still being able to, be in the moment and a little cocoon and a little nest.
And
So
this,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
because it's your winter, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's
If,
like just a emphasis, I guess, on it, and it does sort of, the process kind of feels longer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because would you say that it is a give or take 3 months, like a 3 month window?
Yeah, it's really feeling for me like that at the moment, because I am sort of nearing, I'm getting closer to that 3 month mark,
Yeah.
and it sort of does feel like I am gearing up to, reach into that next stage. So it definitely, it's that cycle of just slowly, recognizing the things that might be coming ahead, but not getting too far until you really feel that that's, where you are going to be. And I can
Yeah.
slowly see that that's starting to unfold.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
coming out of the cocoon, like re-emerging
Yeah.
into the light. And
It is. Yeah.
oh, what a beautiful way to embody and have a new perspective on pregnancy as a whole,
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
actually counting that postpartum season as an actual trimester and a season.
Mm. You can take that wisdom and that knowledge with you. So you're still in that same, that thinking and acknowledging, what you're going through, and having that knowledge of those seasons has been huge, like hugely beneficial, because I could, take that time to, okay, where am I right now? What am I needing? What's coming through for me? Why is it coming? Why am I feeling, all those kinds of things that you would do in your normal, if I was still bleeding, but now I'm in this space, it's still translates like very clearly.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
And how, because I was really interested to hear how the way in which you use your planner
Mm.
or have to in your pregnancy, because obviously I designed it for monthly cycles.
Yeah.
But I loved how you put your own spin on that and made it unique to you. So how did you sort of do that?
Well, it kind of worked out as well. When I first found out I was pregnant, it was actually locked down, and it was actually in spring as well. It was in that springtime, and that first trimester is all about that. It's very new. It's this beginning. It's this learning.
Yeah.
And so I was sort of in that space where I was like, okay, right, I need to harness this newness, and I want to, take the energy, but then I was also obviously very unwell at the same time. And there were just, especially in those first couple of weeks, it was pretty rough. But it gave me time to just really sit down. I'd open up the planner. I'd look, what's going on? How can I get the most out of this season? How can I, this new phase that I'm in, I really wanted to not sort of control it, but sort of prepare myself in that sense, or just connect with something and help me just through that, because I'm so used to tracking my cycle and being in that. And that really sparked it, is that, hang on, there's got to be a way that I can still, embrace my feminine, the side of it, and go through this whole new process, this whole new phase, with my own, knowledge that I've had from, menstrual cycle tracking. So the intentions are always a really great place that I love starting at. What is it that I want to really get from here? So that was exactly the same for my first trimester, second, third. I'd put in the intention space, what am I needing? What am I hoping for this phase? What do I know? And then from there, I would use it for the first month in particular. I'd really plan everything, organize, and then I did a lot of reflecting in there as well. So I think for my first, and then definitely my third trimester, was when I really used it. So in that autumn phase, and I'm just sort of starting to feel like I'm like gearing down, but I wanted to make sure I got all these things ticked off my list, and sort of explore. And that was actually a good time for me as well to explore anything that I knew needed to be covered before I went into this postpartum, before I went into winter. So that was really helpful in getting my ticking a lot of boxes, getting things organized for me. So
eating and that preparation piece is so beneficial. So have everything out on paper or in the planner, and also spanning it out, and not feeling like, because obviously it's like a 3-month journey, month autumn journey, deep reflection and replanning and reflection, and also celebration. Did you discover any celebrations within that?
I suppose, definitely in my autumn it was, and when you do prepare for birth, there's things that I knew I needed to uncover for myself, exploring that shadow, just kind of getting into that, uncovering things that were possibly going to come up for me in birth, or possibly afterwards as well. So I guess in that sense it was quite refreshing, and gave me a sense of control, again, not controlling in that sense, but just preparing myself for that. And I guess that was that's quite a celebration for me, is just knowing what's sort of coming, but also being prepared for what happens, because I definitely needed that in my postpartum. So
that's so good, so good. Do you just want to talk a little bit about the seasons, per trimester, because just so that everyone knows what they are.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was just by chance that it actually happened to work out really nicely with the actual seasons of our environment. So it was, yeah, from about late August to September, October was my first trimester. It was the spring. It was, although I was feeling like very unwell, it was still this, everything was new. And I remember I put in my intentions to learn and unlearn was like my main thing. I was like, okay, here we go. Like, this is everything's so new for me. It was just like a lot. And so, but at the same time, I had this like mental energy to kind of just keep going. And I wanted to explore this and explore that. And I would find out things from people. And, you know, I did a bit of research at that time as well. And then, of course, it was actually, so as my teaching term, my summer, I was in my teaching role as well. So I knew that I needed to be prepared for that as well, being hapū and teaching and making sure that my energy levels, my nourishment, I was, you know, getting myself geared up for that summer, because it was going to be, it was hot and it was just full on. But at the same time, it was really beautiful, and that was probably one of my favorite times. And usually spring and summer are usually like my favorite, you know, when I'm bleeding as well. So that was a really good time. So yeah, summer came around, and you know, I was just embracing a lot of it in that phase, and that felt natural as well, just to really embrace it all. And it was just a lot of love. But you know, like when you're in that sort of nurturing space of ovulation, typically, you know, you're giving a lot to other people, but it also felt like a lot of time for me. And I made a lot of time for, you know, I would go swimming like quite a lot, and that's something that I don't usually do, but I felt like this is the time, this is the phase that I want to just get all this goodness for myself in this summer and really embrace all of it, because I know coming ahead I'm gonna start to decline in that. So, and that was third trimester in the autumn. So it was March, April, and then May, coming deep into that deep going right down. So yeah, that was again like a lot of reflection in that autumn season, and hibernate, you know, getting myself ready, nesting. So there was still quite a bit of energy there, but at the same time I was slowing down a lot, and that worked in really nicely with when I got to take my maternity leave. So it was really beautiful.
Oh, that's so it just gives me such warm fuzzies, especially that your haputanga aligns with the seasons, the outer season.
Yeah.
Like I know for me, like even if my cycle aligns with the transition into a new season, it just feels so much more powerful and aligned. It's so much more gifts and energy and benefits from that. It's so good.
Yeah, the connection is just, you feel very aligned, and it just that connection is so strong, and it really keeps you going. So yeah, it's beautiful. It was reflecting on it has been really nice.
I'm really happy that we can have this conversation, because you know, if I know for me, when I was hapū, I had no idea about the, you know, and I can just imagine for other wāhine who have had children and haven't come into this awareness yet, how much support and love there is there for them in this wisdom.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I wish I knew this.
Yeah, it's like that extra layer of support, but it's within you. So it's, you know, it's yours, and it's your knowledge and your perspective of your seasons, and what you know, what your experiences are, and bringing that into pregnancy is so, it does really feel like a, you know, a big blanket, like, okay, this is, I can, you know, this is my you know, safety, I guess, and I can continue to use it and flourish in it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and actually be supporting yourself, know that you can prepare yourself for the best experience. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And even though, yeah, because it's like, it's that 3 month sort of phases, you can, in a sense, you know, where you're at, you can sort of think now, what's going on for me, you know, like, you know, hormonally as well.
yeah,
It was a good way to remind myself, you know, these are maybe some of the feelings that I'm feeling and why, and, you know, my energy levels, and just in general, you know, my health and well-being. So that was really nice to align that with that space as well, and just again tap into that and reconnect with what, and pull out what I needed, and
yeah,
sort of, yeah, keep me grounded as well.
yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you've been, because the only reference I have really to postpartum is what I know, but also of, you know, my experience, and it wasn't good at all.
Yeah, yeah,
And if I have felt like that, I know that so many other wāhine have. And how have you, what's it look like for you in terms of supporting yourself through postpartum? And I think maybe we did cover that briefly in the beginning,
yeah,
but because I have a friend who is about to give birth, and she's really young, and I'm so grateful that, you know, she has been learning in this space.
okay.
So what are the sort of things that you would say to someone who is preparing for birth and coming into that postpartum winter season?
Yeah, I think if you are in that autumn phase at the moment, um, that was when I did actually reflect back again in the planner, and I would just give myself a couple of days of the week, and I would also add in the phases of the moon as well for maramataka. So I would do a lot of connecting to that, and just because again I didn't want to push myself too much, and I
Yeah.
wanted to, you know, make sure that I was you know, looking after myself and my whole well-being. But I would plan a couple of days where I would you know, talk to the people around me. I would ask them, or I'd just, you know, mention, you know, this is something that I'd like, you know, support from you for, you know, during my next season after baby is born. So it would be, you know, a matter of, can you make a few meals with me?
Yeah.
Can you can we just talk? Actually, it was, a lot of it was just like just talking, and can I just talk to you about fears that I might have, or, you know, things that might come up for me, and can I speak to some people with, you know, experience? So, you know, a lot of chats with lots of girlfriends and my mum as well, about, you know, how their experiences, because everyone's so different. But
Yeah.
you know, there's going to be something that you can take, you know, potentially from, you know, people that you talk to. and then, you know, translating it into your own experience. So that was definitely, autumn for me was big on that. And then again, just looking after myself, you know, especially mentally as well, preparing myself for that. And then when after everything all happened, which of course didn't go to how, you know, my expectations were and what my dreams were, and so again, it was the same sort of thing afterwards. Is finding my support people, talking to people, and releasing a lot of that, releasing a lot of those emotions, a lot of that feeling, writing it down. I journaled everything pretty much from day one. I was just, you know, any spare chance that I had, I would just get it all out. And for me, that's always helped anyway. So talking, journaling, and then because I had supported myself in that autumn phase for nourishment, you know, my energy levels are pretty good because I was eating a lot, I was hydrated, and you know, all those just warming foods, warming drinks, and then like the warming conversations as well was a huge release for me too. So that in those first couple of weeks was huge, and that made a big difference for my experience. And then everything just kind of grew on that. So it was just continuing to build on that. And then to where I am now is that I do feel ready to come out of that winter season, because I can see how we could stay in this space for a really long time. And that could just sort of go on, and you want to be able to come back to yourself and be that creative, you know, being, and do what you love and find a way out, I guess.
Yeah, because, you know, as you just mentioned there, that, you know, that staying in that season could, you know, be a lot of that postnatal depression too, right?
Yeah.
I think I may have had a little bit of, but yeah, it's just good to have these conversations so that, you know, people know that they're not alone, and that there's actually so much support out there. And I really loved how you talked about asking for support. And because, you know, outside of hapūtanga, a lot of us struggle with asking for support. Being held.
Definitely.
So,
and in that space when you're before it happens, you know, anticipating that you're going to need support, and that you're going to, and that it's going to be okay, and before you get to that place where you're quite, I could see how if I hadn't sort of known or had taken that action in my previous phase, then I could have let myself go and really just not asked for help or not reached out, because I'm already in the fog of, you know, who am I, what's going on, what does this baby need, and all of that. I had it, but if you've got the time, and, you know, for me it feels like a privilege that I was able to have that support and reach, you know, people were there and willing to do what I needed, or to, you know, to help where I needed.
I'll just keep using my own experience as an example to bring some out. When I was postpartum, I did kind of, you know, sleep when baby was sleeping, but because I was on my own, and I think me and my sister had our babies around the same time, so like a couple months apart. So that support of each other there, but most of the time I was on my own. And so what does it look like for you? Because obviously it's, you know, we know that it's a winter season now, and we really need to be having that quality of rest.
Yeah.
But you know, there's also many things to do around the house, and obviously baby to nurture and nourish and look after, with also yourself. So it feels like a big transition to, especially for new mums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember putting in my intentions for this space was surrender, surrender, surrender. Like that was, I just had that on repeat. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have to just go with a lot of stuff, just let a lot of things be, and you know, take them as they are. And I have quite a bad habit of setting expectations really high, and so I had to make sure I managed that in this season, especially to just sort of, you know, the washing pile is high and it's going to be high, and that's just give into it, just let that be okay, you know. And it was picking the things, making things priority. What do I really need? What's going to actually be beneficial for everybody, including myself, first and foremost, before I can give then to everyone else. So, you know, surrendering to all of that, you know, unfolding to it, just embracing it. And yeah, there were days where, you know, emotionally it was really, really hard, and I just go with it, just embrace that. But I do often think back, I don't know how people do it on their own. So I'm so amazed that if that was your part of your journey, that being by yourself is, I couldn't. You'd have to find that strength somewhere, but it takes a lot, and that's
I I was a completely different person then.
yeah.
So looking back, man, I want to have these kind of conversations more, because imagine what other people go through. I keep saying, it's such a the whole process of aligning with cyclical living is a big surrender in itself.
It is. And because again, in my autumn phase, I knew that, you know, I'm prone to anxiety, and I'm prone to you know, struggling with things that, you know, are out of my control. And so I had to do a lot of work, and I've been still doing a lot of work in this space as well, in you know, making sure that I'm checking in with and looking and being healthy. And, you know, these things you have to surrender to, and it's scary. But you know, when you can look at the bigger picture, or from a different perspective, that whole change in mindset, when you know your seasons, when you know how cyclical living works, it does make sense. And I've just said it before, but it feels like that safety network, that safety blanket is just
and have so much support available and readily available and already around you. Just it's like a I'm just seeing onions. Oh man. Do you have any specific tips for the ladies who are hapū at the moment, who have got planners? Because when they say to me, "Oh, I'm hapū, I won't be able to use it," and I'm like, "No, you can."
I think whether you're at the beginning or whether you're, you know, halfway through, what I sort of did was I focused on the first month, or of going into that new trimester. So that first month was when I really utilized the planner, and I was able to set myself up. I looked ahead at what was coming for me, any appointments, any things like that. And then, of course, the intentions, I would say, is the biggest part that I benefited from, because that just gave me that, thinking about, okay, what am I going to expect from this space? What do I want to get from this? And it's just a lot of those prompts that you'll still have in your, in the seasons. So reflecting on those questions was really helpful as well.
That's so good.
Yeah, I would utilize those two parts of setting your intentions, looking at the first month in particular, and that way, in terms of actually using, you can actually get through, of course, depending where you are, but yeah, looking ahead, you can still, use it in the same way. So I set my intention, and then of course within that trimester, you sort of just want to focus on that, what season that is anyway. So that's sort of your main space you're working with.
Yeah. And would it be that, so because we know that there's 3 months per trimester, so you're saying that you're using one cycle as the first month in that trimester?
Yeah, that seemed to work for me. Yeah. And then I would sort of just build on that. And so I just, continue to reflect back on that same season and just work within that just continually until, because you feel, I certainly felt that transition into each trimester. It was, and then again, it's it's a cycle. It's a good place to restart again. Okay, so here I go with my next, season coming forward. It's the same process, really. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I had another question, but it's just gone now. Oh no, it's gone. Is there anything else that you I'm just going to say thanks, Melissa. She just said yes, like that.
Oh, cool.
Is there anything else that you feel like we could mention or touch on?
There's probably a lot. There's probably a lot. Yeah, no, I'm hitting a blank as well.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's probably where we finished then.
Yeah.
Do you just want to mention anything that you have offerings wise? And I know you're obviously the Steam Queen, and I know that Melissa got a throne from you, which I'm so about.
Yeah.
Do you want to just mention the things that you have on offer?
Yes, well, and even for myself, I found because it had been a practice that I'd done throughout my cycles normally, when it came into that really last month of my autumn, I felt this really needing to connect with that, that ritual again, that practice again. So for labor preparation, it worked out perfectly that was a way to bring back this practice, look after myself, nourishment and everything in the same way that I would usually, but for labor preparation. And then again for postpartum, even though I had a C-section, it was still it's still been a part of my postpartum, and that has helped hugely. I can, it was a way for me again to connect back with, things that I used to do for myself and care, self-care, self-love. So that's been, definitely really beneficial. And it was in those first couple of days after I'd given birth, I was needing that. So I was needing it then as well. I really felt like I needed that time just to myself, just to gather my thoughts, connect with myself again, because it still felt so, otherworldly in those first couple of days after birth. So postpartum and labor preparation is something that is really helpful, really supportive.
So because you don't do it during a summer season, right?
No, that's right. So 36 weeks is when you start to prepare. So that's the conversation that we have together, and we just check in how you've been throughout your pregnancy. And then from 37, 38 weeks is when you can start a practice and get into a routine. And, we can create a plan, or you can go intuitively. And then by postpartum, again, another conversation we can have together, and how it will fit in with your lifestyle, your needs.
Cool. That's so, I love it. For me, I have so much. So you have 2 types of thrones, herbs, all of that, which I still need to get writing a reminder now.
That's right. So 2 thrones, they each have different purposes. So the te māmā is great for if you do have heat sensitivity, so you can box it in instead with, whereas te wāhine, you can use it for advanced steaming. You can pop a burner underneath there as well to allow for longer sessions. And then, 4 different herb blends that work with the constitutions of people and their symptoms, and then if custom is usually done with consultations. So
cool. So, and all that stuff is in your bio on your website, which is you, so that's amazing.
Cool.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone has any questions, I'll save this to the page anyway, and people can just reach out to you if they
absolutely
if they have questions or anything like that.
Of course. Just send me a message or email, anything.
Cool. Alrighty.
Wonderful. Have a great day.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.